So I just finished She Who Became the Sun, and I really have to say that it was a spectacular read. I honestly loved every minute of it. The writing style was super immersive. I laughed, I cried. I did cry quite a lot because it's quite a painful book, if that's the right way to say it, because so many people suffer, and in the end no one is really happy because their fate just makes it so everyone has to suffer. It's about the first emperor of the Ming dynasty in China, and this book basically tells us, I regretfully don't know the original one, so I don't know if it's in the original or not, but in this version she's actually a woman, and she assumes the fate that was once given to her brother, but her brother was so weak that when the first hurdle arrived, he died. Overall, it was just a really great read. If you have this on your TBR, buy it and read it. It's really good. I genuinely can't believe how good this book was. Going into it, I thought it would just be a murder mystery to kill some time, just an alright book, but it was really great. First of all, the detectives, they were all ex-convicts. The main protagonist, Maddie, actually hit someone. They insulted her sister. But then she gets recruited by someone who wants to start a detective club, basically. He was an ex-policeman, and he actually was fired because he threatened one of his colleagues with a gun because he slept with his wife. So that's the whole thing. That's why he was fired from the force, which, I mean, it makes sense, but for the book, it was a really good start. And they are really great. There's also a trans man. He adopts a little squirrel that nearly dies, but in the end, he's doing just fine. And it's so great. You can actually see it on here. It's so cute. And there's a dog that's literally just named Dog. And all in all, it just makes you feel so great while reading it, because everything is so wholesome and everything turns out well. And especially because it's set in Amsterdam, I think this would be a really great book to read whilst you're on holiday there, because it's also set in summer, and I can only recommend it. I really can't believe that both the books I read so far were so great. I'm just hoping the next one is going to be just as good. You know what? My lucky streak couldn't last forever, because this book kind of sucked. And I should have known it, because it's what I would call a classic written in the 1950s by a man. And it's so aggressively written by a man in the 1950s that I can't even begin listing all the problems I have with it. So for starters, it was just really misogynistic. Every woman in this was mean, the worst, and did everything to make his life worse, and the men were always so great and saved him. That's not great. And then the plot of this book. There was no plot, basically. It was about a young writer who struggled, and because he struggled, he sometimes didn't have money to buy himself food. That's also obviously where the title from the book comes from. There's no plot, it's just a man whining about his hardships. When he gets money, he immediately spends it all or gives it away. It was really hard finishing this one because the main character was just super annoying. I didn't want him to succeed at all. And yeah, I basically just wanted to be done with this book. And now I am, and I'm never gonna read it again, and I wouldn't advise you to read it unless you're interested in misogynistic ramblings of some guy. So I didn't get to finish this book because by then it was about 8:30 and my head was really dizzy and nothing made sense anymore. So I decided to stop. But I can say that so far I really like this book. I can't believe that 3 out of 4 books I read were this great. I have to say it makes me really angry, but that isn't because the writing is bad or anything, but because it's about a woman in the 60s who's a scientist. And I probably don't need to tell you that everyone is the worst to her. The men around her are A, incapable of really being scientists, and B, just steal her work. And she also couldn't finish her PhD because she was sexually assaulted. So that makes me furious. And knowing that it's still like this today, that not that much really has changed, made me even angrier. And in my opinion, even the man that she loved was kind of a dickhead for it. I think he also didn't really understand the problems. But that's neither here nor there. I think that's open to your own interpretation if you read it. And I know that this book has been hugely popular and well-deserved, so I think it got a Goodreads Community Award or something, and many other things, but it really is a very good book, and I only recommend you read it.